Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is Monday night. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about Moise Kean and just how boss he is. He has been helping out in his native country, Italy, obviously surrounding the whole coronavirus pandemic. He has been helping the hospitals, providing equipment and stuff. So we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about the Premier League's absolutely shocking and quite difficult to understand strategy to potentially bring the Premier League back, which I think is really, really worrying. We'll talk about that. And I also have got a couple of more things to talk about, as well as doing just an overall Ask Me Anything episode. So get your questions, get your comments in the live comments if you're watching live. If you're watching as a YouTube video, get your comments in the comment section down below, and we'll be getting through as many of them as possible. But I suppose we'll talk firstly about the Premier League's mad strategy, really, to potentially bring the Premier League back, or the FA strategy, whoever it may be. Now, I think it's become quite clear recently that, you know, the authorities, whether it be the FA or the Premier League, you know, they want to bring the Premier League back, and it's understandable. Look, you know, at this period of time, obviously it's hard to entertain ourselves. There's no football, there's no sport. It's very, very difficult. It's very difficult to remain positive. It's very difficult to do anything because most of us, the majority of us, are obviously stuck behind our houses. We you know, we're staying home. We have to stay home. It's imperative. It's really, really important that we do stay home, unless obviously you're a key worker or you have to go out for essentials. But in that, there's no sport, there's nothing to watch, there's no entertainment. So I understand that, you know, the Premier League and the FA, etc., want to bring football back as soon as possible, but it's absolutely imperative to understand and to remember that football must not come back under any circumstance until this whole pandemic, until this whole situation regarding the virus is controlled and is at a point where you can allow hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of people to leave their house and to be congregated in any one area at one time without there being massive risk of you know, mass contamination and therefore lives at risk. Whilst lives are at risk at the moment, football simply cannot come back, whether we like it or we don't like it, whether we're stuck inside bored with nothing to watch or we're not. Football cannot come back until it's absolutely safe to do so. We must protect the NHS, we must protect ourselves, and we must protect each other as well, because it's going to get to a point, I'm sorry to say, but it's going to get to a point where the NHS can't keep up with the amount of people that are having to be treated for this virus and that are having to go through the hospital doors because they haven't got the facilities to do so. So we must absolutely ensure that football and anything else, whether it be rugby, whether it be cricket, whether it be, I don't know, tennis, nothing returns and until it's absolutely safe to do so. Now, having said that, I read an article a couple of days ago that comes from Miguel Delaney of the Independent. It's an independent article, so we would assume that it's quite, you know, it's quite reliable. The Independent, you know, are usually a reliable source for articles, and it was an exclusive article, and I didn't read into the article because basically I only had to read the title that Miguel Delaney had tweeted, and I was already furious at the title. It says, exclusive, Premier League plans to have developed into clubs staying in quarantined World Cup style basis and playing all games in Midland, July and June. All 92 remaining games will be broadcast in TV mega events, and it's said to have the government backing. Now, as soon as I read this, I was literally just absolutely shocked. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that such a ridiculous plan, such a ridiculous statement could even be thought of, never mind be put to the government or to be actually planned out. It's absolutely ridiculous to think that the Premier League are wanting to, not only, it's not just about fans and it's not just about the mass gathering in terms of, you know, when to bring football back and other sports. It's not solely about, you know, the tens of thousands of people that are going to be in the crowd. Obviously, that's a massive, you know, part of it, and that's a massive situation, is the crowds that you have at stadiums and the people that are congregating in pubs, etc. Of course, that's a massive part of it, but it's also about the medical staff that are required at a football match. Whether a football match has 3 spectators in the stand, whether it has nobody watching live, whether it has 300 million people watching live in the stands, there is always going to be paramedics, ambulance services and NHS staff or St John's ambulance staff in and around that ground and that pitch and that stadium in case of any emergencies. We've seen it ourselves firsthand only 2 months ago. Andre Gomez having to be, lifted straight off the pitch, straight into an ambulance and straight to hospital because he suffered a horrific injury that, if it wasn't for the fantastic medical staff on duty on that day, could have been a lot worse. We've seen it ourselves, and we've seen it multiple times, not just in football but in various other sports as well. We don't only have to think about the fact that I think some people seem to realise, and I think the Premier League have sort of got this view, and it's scary really, that if there's no crowds and if there's no fans, then why not play the games? Then what negative is there if we just stop fans going to the match and maybe we don't tell them when the games are on so they don't congregate in pubs to watch them? Then what's the negative really? Who's being harmed? Well, firstly, like I mentioned, the ambulance staff, the NHS staff, the paramedics that have to be on hand at every Premier League game. You've got rough estimates, maybe 20 paramedics at every Premier League game. You've got throughout the space of 2 months, you've got 92 Premier League games. How many paramedics, how many doctors, how many ambulance drivers, how many emergency services, police as well, because there still need to be police, there still need to be various other emergency services. How many of them are being taken away from this pandemic, from this mass virus, where everybody is needed to be working on this? Everybody that works in the emergency services, they're one and only focus, especially doctors and ambulance drivers and paramedics, etc. Their one and only focus at the minute should be, treating the people that are suffering from this and making sure that it doesn't spread as quickly as it's currently spreading, and putting it on a downwards curve. So that's just absolutely bonkers. The fact that they've stated that developed clubs staying in quarantine World Cup style basis. We also have to think about the footballers. We also have to think about the players. We also have to think about the coaches. We also have to think about the managers. This is Premier League football. For me, it either should be played as it's been being played for the last 20 odd years, in a stadium, in front of fans, with obviously the whole backroom staff there, the team there, the substitutes there, however many fans there, or not played at all. It's not a simple case of 22 fellas going out on the pitch with nobody in the stand, no manager, no coaches, no ambulance staff, kicking a ball around for 90 minutes, maybe it being televised in some big mass entertainment service, and then they go home and they do it again in a couple of days. It's not a case of that. You've got players mixing with other players. You've got, if you've got 22 players there, you've got 22 players from various different places around the country and around the globe, with families who are spread around the country and around the globe. You've got coaches, you've got manager staff, you've got fitness staff, you've got backroom staff, you've got the staff at these quarantine style World Cup bases that are going to have to work there to make sure that the players are okay and they've got everything they need. It's not just a simple case of 22 players going out on the pitch, kicking a ball around for a bit and then going home. There's so many more people that would have to be involved in this, and it's too much of a risk. It's too much of a risk. And I'm telling you now, the aim to have all games played in the middle of, between June and July, sorry, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Unfortunately, we're going to be in this situation for quite some time. And, the Premier League, let's cast our minds back to 3 or 4 weeks ago, before the whole country was put on isolation, before there was, mass amounts of cases in this country, whilst it was still very much a pandemic, but it wasn't as apparent in this country. Let's cast our minds back to 3 weeks ago when the Premier League first said that they're looking to start Premier League football back up on the first weekend of April. That's this weekend coming up. It was never going to happen. They then put it back to the end of April. That was never going to happen. It's never going to happen in June and July either, simply because, listen, we might be on a downward spiral by then. Don't get me wrong. We might have caught it, and if everybody does as the government are advising and the NHS are advising, and stay home as long as you haven't got to go out for essential, if you're not a key worker and if you're not going for medicines or essential food, then stay at home. Or your exercise a day, of course. There's no other reason to be out. So, again, the fact that they're saying that they'll play all the games in the Midlands is another issue. Why they've targeted one specific place in the country is another massive issue. But it's not, even if we're on the downward spiral, like I said, even if we've managed to catch it early and it's looking more positive than it is negative. I can still almost guarantee that come June and July we won't be in a situation to allow 22 footballers, as well as all of the backroom staff and the coaches and the medics and the ambulance services and the the various other people that are involved in a professional game of football. I can almost guarantee, if not I can probably definitely guarantee, that we won't be in a situation to allow that to happen. We really, really won't. So it's ridiculous. It's really, really ridiculous. And don't get me wrong, like I said, I understand the Premier League want to bring football back, and I understand they want to finish this season. And then I think if this season had finished already, they wouldn't even be worrying about next season. It'd be a simple case, like the World Cup, like the Olympics, of saying, well, we're just going to knock it on the head and not start it until everything's over and until it's safe to do so. But because we're so close to the end of the Premier League season, and because the title is so close to being decided, hasn't been decided, I think they're doing their best to try and finish it, and it looks worryingly like they're trying to do that in a situation where it's not safe to do so. So obviously I think it's a absolutely ridiculous plan. I think it's a ridiculous strategy, and I hope that it is just an article in the Independent and it doesn't go any further than the big bosses high up in the Premier League and the FA looking at it and going, that's never going to work and it's not safe to do so, because it's not safe for the players, it's not safe for the coaching staff, and it would be taking essential key workers and essential services away from where they need to be for the sake of a football match. And I know there's a lot of money in football, but if you're listening to this and you're not listening to this, because why would you be watching me talk about it at R5 on a Monday night? But if anybody that works for the Premier League, if anybody that works for the FA are listening to this, please, please, please have a think, sit down, actually address the situation, not from your own experience, but from the experiences of other people, from the view of other people, and please, please, please start to put people's lives and people's well-being ahead of money and ahead of sport. Football is not be-all and end-all. It's not life or death, despite how people may feel about it. I love Everton, more than most things in the world, and I do a lot for Everton, but I certainly aren't willing to go out and watch a game of football with the fear or the thought that not only might I get infected myself and therefore suffer from that, but I might go and infect an elderly person or somebody that mightn't be able to get over the virus as well as me or somebody else could. It's not life and death. Please, please, please start putting people's well-being and people's health, and our NHS, who, by the way, our NHS workers and all other key workers as well, like I said, on Friday, it's not just people that work in the NHS, it's support workers, it's people that work in the social care industry, it's the people that work in the supermarkets that are having to deal with mass amounts of people on a daily basis, it's, ambulance drivers, it's everybody, every key worker, people that works in banks, every key worker put their lives in front of money for once, because this strategy is never going to work and it's only going to put more people in danger. Again, I think the another part of the argument, like I said there, I'm not going to go too much into the government backing, because I think that says all it needs to say, really, doesn't it? But all 92 remaining games will be broadcast in a TV mega event, it said. Now that just pissed me off when I read that. It really, really, really pissed me off. Sorry about that. That's my computer telling me I'm live, as if I don't already know. That really, really pissed me off, because I read that as sort of like a TV mega event, almost like a WrestleMania style, bangers, 92 Premier League games. You can flick between, which ones. You can put live betting on. It's ridiculous. It's literally ridiculous. It's acting like there's not a global pandemic which is affecting and harming and affecting and realistically killing thousands and thousands of people on a daily basis worldwide. They're acting like it's just not happening, and that they can just go on and they can play all of these games. They can put players' lives at risk. They can put managers and coaches' lives at risk. They can put staff of football clubs' lives at risk. Because if Everton, let's say Everton was to play the Merseyside derby in one of these TV mega event games in a World Cup style base, do you think it'd just be Carlo Ancelotti and 16 of the lads that turn up and play Jurgen Klopp and 16 of his lads? No, it wouldn't. There'd be staff. There'd be hundreds of staff that work for Everton and Liverpool that'd have to work that day, that'd have to be involved in that. It'd be putting them at risk as well. And like I said, the whole TV mega event situation, it just made me think, what? You're literally just trying to squeeze any amount of monetary value and any amount of money you can out of this situation, regardless of whether you're not going to earn as much money as you would do because the European competitions have been stopped or the domestic competitions have been stopped, regardless of whether Liverpool is so close to winning the title or whether they're not, regardless of who's ready to come up from the Championship. Start putting people's well-being and people's lives ahead of money, because money isn't the only thing in the world. And this whole article and this whole plan, if you like, for me just screams out we want to make as much money as possible. And I can guarantee if let's just say for argument's sake this was to be true and it was to come true and it was to happen, this all 92 remaining games will be broadcast in a TV mega event. Do we honestly think that TV mega event would be free? Do we think the Premier League and the FA and Sky and BT just go, bang, here's the 92 remaining Premier League games over June and July, free for you all to watch? No, it'd be pay £200 and get 92 Premier League games, or pay £100 and get your club's Premier League games. It's just another way to make money, and it's another way for me, a little bit like 3 or 4 weeks ago when we spoke about how the Premier League needed to be suspended, and that when they come out with a statement saying they were still looking to play the games and they were still looking to carry on the Premier League, despite the fact it was very, very dangerous and not safe to do so. The same conversation we had back then about them putting money in front of people's well-being and in front of people's lives. It's the same conversation we're having now. It's a ridiculous plan. It's a disgraceful strategy. It's honestly shocking, and it shouldn't ever have even been thought of or put into place, because again, okay, you can say, well, we're not going to have any fans there, so there's not going to be, there's not going to have any fans that are going to be at risk. Trust me, I can guarantee now, football isn't it, if, let's just say for Everton's sake, if there's 45,000 Evertonians that know Everton are playing, they'll be wherever they are to watch Everton. If it's in their house or if it's somewhere else, they'll be wherever they are to watch Everton. And it's just, like I said, it's not just about the fans, and it's not just about not having a crowd. It's why behind closed doors games wouldn't make sense. Like, the whole conversation was, about maybe bringing the games back behind closed doors and playing the rest of the Premier League fixtures behind closed doors. It just would not work. We literally seen a prime example of it the week before France went into lockdown. PSG played the Champions League game behind closed doors, and about 25,000 PSG fans waited outside the stadium for the players, and the players come out and celebrated. And yeah, boss, the players were socially distanced from the fans, quality, but the 25,000 fans weren't socially distanced from themselves. They were standing right next to each other in a small capacity, in a small place. So they were spreading all sorts. So it simply doesn't work. And for me, I think it's ill-advised. I think it's very, very silly. I think it's stupid. It is just another way to make money, at the end of the day, because I can guarantee you now, if it was to happen, this TV mega event, 92 remaining Premier League games wouldn't be free to be broadcasted. They would be wanting some form of money for it. And again, it's putting players' lives at risk, it's putting managers' lives at risk, it's putting coaches' lives at risk, and it's simply not worth it. If the Premier League isn't ready to come back by June/July because this whole situation is still ongoing and it's not being consoled yet, then we just have to scrap it. We just have to avoid it. It's not ideal. I want to watch Everton again this season. I want to watch Everton again now. Another weekend, last weekend without Everton. It's hard. It's not ideal, but it's what's best for the health and well-being of the general public and for the NHS. And at the end of the day, nothing else matters other than that, does it? Let's be perfectly honest. Before I dive into the live comments, I do just want to brighten this team up a little bit. I want to talk about Moise Kean, because I understand that that's a little bit of a negative situation, but it's a situation that we have to talk about, because at the end of the day, it's the Premier League coming up with some form of strategy that for me is just absolutely disgraceful. But I don't want to talk about negative. I want to make this a positive team. That's why I done it Ask Me Anything. I want you to get your positive questions in. Questions about anything in particular. Literally, it can be about Everton. It can be about absolutely anything whatsoever. So get your questions in. Like I said, on a bit more of a positive note, that's the negativity out the way now. I don't want to talk about the negativity. On a more positive note, if you're enjoying the stream, by the way, please do leave a like. It really, really does mean a massive amount to me. Get the video shared as well, all over social media. Let's get as many people in here as possible. Don't forget to subscribe as well if you're new to the channel. It only takes a second. On a more positive note, as you can see by the title, I've put Moise Kean being boss. If you don't know the news, Moise Kean has been helping to purchase respirator machines and face masks to hospitals in Italy to aid the country's response to the coronavirus pandemic. So Moise Kean, again, another example of a fantastic footballer from Everton Football Club. We've seen over the last week Luca Dean reading a bedtime story to the younger fans. We've seen Dominic Calvert-Lewin talking about how he's only just watched Jerry Maguire for the first time. We've seen a lot of stuff from the players and a lot of stuff from the background staff at Everton Football Club. And again, another prime example, Moise Kean helping out. I think it's part of Mino Raiola's agency. A lot of Mino Raiola's players are helping out by providing respiration equipment and face masks etc. to hospitals. And it's fantastic to see Moise Kean getting involved with that as well. Really, really good. And obviously it's a really, really positive thing to see a footballer, you know, a person who, let's be honest, is of the higher level of society. He's getting paid an awful lot more money than most of us will ever earn in our lifetime. It's really, really good to see him helping out, you know, out as country and helping out their health service as well, because it's desperately needed at these times. So absolutely boss from Moise Kean. Absolutely love to see that. And again, really, really good to see all of the Blue family stuff every single day and all of the players getting involved with the fans. And you know, all of that sort of stuff. It really, really is good to see, isn't it, really? Getting to the live comments. Evertonian Luke says, hello Cam mate. Hello mate, I hope you're doing well. Abigail says, as much as I love for irresponsible to think about money over the health of the players and staff of the clubs, as well as TV presenters, production people, medical staff and the fans, the pandemic won't be over at 6. Exactly, spot on. God says, what do you think Liverpool fans would be like the Juve fans who say if they get handed the title this season they won't celebrate it due to the fact they didn't fully win it? No, not even to be bitter or to be biased, but no, I think if Liverpool were to be handed the title, he would celebrate it. And to be honest, you have to ask yourself, you know, you have to take the bias out of it and ask yourself the same question. If Everton hadn't won a Premier League title for 30 odd years and we were 20 odd points clear and we were in this situation, if the Premier League were happy to hand us the title, would we celebrate it? We probably would, wouldn't we? Let's be honest. LCFC boy says, hi, I hope you're doing okay. Well, lad, I'm not too bad, mate. I hope you're doing well yourself. Ewan says, Seamus Coleman gesture to the League of Ireland. There you go. And again, another really, really good gesture from Seamus. Again, another Everton player. Showing, I think in this period of time, you know, we've spoke about how important it is that the players are reaching out to the fans and the players are doing things for the community, etc. It's really, really good to see how well the players are representing the club as well, because at the end of all of this, once all of this is blown over and once all of this is done, we'll be able to look back as a fan base and the club will be able to look back as a football club and say, well, you know what, we made a really, really good account of ourselves during that period, during that tough period on humanity. We made sure that our fans were constantly kept in touch with. We made sure that there was, you know, player engagement between the fans as well. It could have been very, very easy for, when it was announced that the Premier League was to be suspended, it would have been very, very easy for the club to go, right, bang, that's it, and us not see the players, not hear from the players, not listen to the players' voices, not see the players interacting with fans until the Premier League returns again. It would have been very, very easy for us to do that, and there's clubs in the Premier League and there's clubs around Europe that are doing that, that aren't having that engagement with the fans, that aren't getting involved, and the players aren't, you know, reaching out. But our club obviously is very, very different, and we know we're the best football club in the world at doing that. And Seamus is another prime example of what a good representative he is for the football club. LCFC boy says, why is the Midlands being said as a place to play it? We are a hotbed for the virus. Exactly. Why is it the Midlands? Why isn't it London? Why isn't it down south? I think we all know the answer to that. 1878 says, fat pizza mate, I'm a ham and pineapple guy. Danny's on Muirhead is the one. Fave pizza mate. Favourite pizza? There you go, a little bit more of a light-hearted question. Favourite pizza? You know what, probably going to wind a few people up here, but I like a veggie pizza, mate. And I'm not vegetarian, I'm not vegan, I'm not a veggie, but I do like a veggie pizza. I also like ham and pineapple, which is controversial, I know, but I don't care. I like ham and pineapple. I think it's boss. I think pineapple goes on a pizza. I think it's lovely. But if I was to pick a pizza, it would probably either be one of three: barbecue chicken, ham and pineapple, or veggie, to be perfectly honest with you. I actually had pizza yesterday, a veggie pizza from Domino's. Yeah, there you go. Keeping healthy, of course. Abigail says 3 to 6 months of lockdown maximum before people stop being infected. Well done to Kean, what a legend and a nice guy. Exactly, and well done to the entire Everton squad who are getting involved. Like we said, Luca Dean yesterday. We've seen Mason Hargate on a number of occasions. Michael Keane, Andre Gomez, obviously Moise Kean, Seamus Coleman as well. The entire squad and the entire backroom staff, Carlo Ancelotti included, the coaches that are putting out little videos, little training videos of how to keep yourself active at home and, what you should be doing to keep an active lifestyle. It's fantastic to see, and it does help. It really, really does help. Stephen says, hi Cam, the season should be null and void. It's the only way. Liverpool shouldn't be given the title and the teams at the bottom shouldn't be relegated. I agree. Eugen says, did you watch the Everton story time last Friday night at 7 o'clock? I did, with Luca Dean. I thought it was boss. On that story, by the way, I never got read that story as a kid. But it was a little bit mad, innit, really. I'm not going to ruin it too much, but the Target comes in, eats all the scran, drinks all the drink, get off, they go out. Specifically, they buy more food because they've got no food left because the Target's at it. They buy some extra Target food in case he comes back, and he doesn't bother coming back. Everton interview says, hi Cam, how are you doing today? I'm not too bad, mate. I hope you're doing well yourself. Ian says it was good. Everton versus Leicester match, watch along. 1986 last Saturday afternoon. It was fantastic to see. I've done a little instant match reaction on that as well. If you haven't seen it after this live stream, go and check it out. Little throwback instant match reactions. That's something a little bit fun to do over the weekend for you. To that game, the 1986 Everton versus Leicester City at Goodison Park in that fantastic season, of course. If you're enjoying, by the way, so far, please do hit that like button. It only does take a second. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. 1878 just going on, Cam. Hope you and your family are well, mate. I'm not too bad. I hope you're well. We're doing okay, thanks. Guts, what's it going to take for the FA to finally admit that the Premier League might not be finished? I don't know, mate. I honestly don't know. I really don't know. LCFC Boy says, will be some stupid, expensive broadcasting deal that will fuck over the fans. Will be 200 plus people in every game behind closed doors. As a Leicester fan, I really want the season to be finished, but not till it's safe. Spot on, and that's exactly, you've got it spot on. Listen, at the end of the day, as much as, at the start of the whole situation, we were like, well, Liverpool won't get the title, blah, 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 and, they've waited 30 years and they won't even get it. As much as we had all of that sort of banter and all of that sort of talk, I think now we're all starting to realise, obviously, after a couple of weeks without football and a couple of weeks without watching your team, and for our case, Everton, I think we do all want football to return, and if it was safe to do so, I'd want football to return tomorrow. I never thought I'd say that, but I'd happily go and watch a Merseyside derby at Goodison Park tonight if it was safe to do so, but it's simply not safe to do so, and it's not a case of whether we want it back or we don't want it back, or whether we'd be sad to see it void or we wouldn't be sad to see it void. It's a case of that. It's very, very simple. It's very, very simplistic, this. Unless it is absolutely safe to do so, football and any other sport should not return. And it's not just in sport. Television shows that require a live audience, things like that, should not return until it's absolutely safe to do so. The only things we should be watching on telly at the moment are pre-recorded shows that have been recorded before the whole pandemic, and news reports and stuff where the presenters and stuff are socially distancing, and obviously it's providing news and information about what's going on at the moment. There shouldn't be anything else that we're watching, and sport is included in that. And whether it's whether we want to see it return or whether we don't want to see it return, or whether it's disappointing because certain clubs may be in certain positions where it would be a shame to see it void, at the end of the day, none of that really matters. Until it's absolutely safe to do so, football shouldn't return. And for me, I don't think it's going to be safe to do so before July, so there's no way on this planet should there be discussions to bring football back. But fair enough, have those conversations and have those plans in place for when it's safe to do so, but don't be having plans to bring it back before it's safe to do so. That's just ridiculous. Hernandez says, although with how ridiculous the season continuing is, when Liverpool ultimately win the league, thousands of people will descend upon Liverpool with their sickness. Not a good idea. Exactly. How are you passing your time during quarantine? That's a good one. To be honest, mate, I'm keeping myself indoors, so I know obviously the government guidelines currently stand that we're allowed to leave for essentials, and exercise for an hour a day, and go in the shops for food, medicine, etc. Over the last sort of 3 or 4 days, since Friday or since Thursday, I haven't left the house. I've been keeping myself in purely because I've not got a real need to leave the house other than that 1 hour of exercise, which will be good, but I can replace that with some stuff doing in the house, some little fitness workouts in the house. So I've actually stayed in. I've not left the house since Thursday night. So over the weekend, basically, I'm still working. I'm still working 8 till 4, Monday to Friday. I've got my laptop. I'm doing my work at home. So after work, other than work, I'm doing the live streams, obviously. I'm doing the content. I'm trying to think of more ideas. I'm trying to get as involved as possible, doing a lot more on Twitter. I've got a nice announcement to make towards the end of the stream as well, something that's going on tomorrow that I'm sure you'll all be interested in. I've been playing a lot of PlayStation, not gonna lie. I've been playing a lot of FIFA, a lot of Red Dead Redemption as well. Like I said, I've been doing a little bit of exercise. I've got a little fitness sort of workout fitness type of plan with sit-ups and press-ups and squats and, you know, not burpees, planks and all that sort of stuff that you can do literally at home in your bedroom, as long as you've got a mat or, you know, a comfy place to do so, you can do it. So I've done that yesterday, and I'm going to do that, you know, every day now, and, you know, for the foreseeable future. And other than that, really just obviously speaking to my girlfriend over on Skype and FaceTime, etc. Me and Jess obviously apart because, you know, we live in different houses, so it's only safe to do that, although it's very, very hard and very, very you know, upsetting. I think at times it's still the safest thing to do. So Skyping Jess a lot, speaking to Jess, playing a lot of PlayStation, getting a lot of ideas for the streams, keeping up to date with the Twitter and the social media, etc. And yeah, that's about it really. Keeping exercised and keeping my mind healthy, eating properly, and yeah, that's it. Let me know what you know you're all doing during the quarantine, and how you're keeping yourself entertained, and how you're keeping yourself positive. Let's get the questions in. Let's get as many questions in as possible. If you're enjoying the stream, by the way, so far, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel as well, don't forget to subscribe. Go and follow us on Twitter and Instagram as well. It only takes a second, and there's loads of boss content over there. Jess says chicken and sweet corn pizza with peppers though. Yeah, I wouldn't choose it. I wouldn't choose it, but you know, it's nice. I'd eat it. It's nice. Credit to you for the fitness plan as well. Go to top 5 English bands of all time. I'm not really into bands, to be honest. I'm not massively into bands, but obviously the Beatles would probably have to be in there. Oasis are probably in there, and they're the only two that I'm really. Well, Queen are in there definitely, and they're the only 3 bands that I really, really like the music of, and I'll listen to consistently, really. Queen more so than the other 2, but I like Oasis and I like the Beatles as well. So they're 3 of them. Eden says, I am playing FIFA 20 on Xbox One, and I'm playing Everton on FIFA right now. Spot on. I actually play on PlayStation. Finished me Everton career mode a couple of days ago, and then you know what it's like with FIFA and career mode. You sort of finish one, and then you're a bit like, do I really want to start a new one? Can I really be bothered? Not really. So I switched them and went to Red Dead Redemption instead, and I've been playing the remainder of that. I finally got a chance to play that campaign. Really, really good campaign, but a really, really long campaign, as I'm sure you'll know if you've played it. I can't blame you for skipping my other comments. Where did I skip? I don't think I skipped it, did I? I read the one about the pizza. Going on, come up, you and your family are well, mate. I think I read that one as well. Not too bad. Oasis. I don't think if I've skipped a comment, get it back in the comments, and I'll reply, because I don't think I've skipped one. He also says Oasis best band ever. They are good. I must admit. James says Muse System of a Down. Is that a game? I feel like I know that. Or is that a musical app? I don't know. Or is that how you're spending yours? I think, is that not the musical app where you make music and stuff like that? I don't know. You'll have to give me more information on that. Let's get some more questions in as well while we all have. If you're watching the YouTube video, don't forget to leave your questions in the comment section down below. Sorry, and I get involved with as many of them. If you're watching live, get your questions in. We'll probably do about 5 more minutes. We'll get as many questions in as possible. Like I said, I've got a special announcement to make just before we end the stream as well. Let's get your questions in. Please leave a like if you're enjoying, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new as well. Oh, that YouTube will have taken that down, mate. I'm not gonna say it, to be honest, but YouTube will have taken that down. Gutters, what about the Rolling Stones or Led Zeppelin? Obviously, classical bands, of course. Like I said, I'm not too into bands or rock music or stuff like that, so I'm not too into them. But they're probably, well, they're almost definitely in the top 5. I'm being honest with you. James says it's a band, System of a Down at a band. There you go. I can honestly say I don't think I've ever heard of them or ever heard of any of the music, but maybe I'll take a listen at some point during this period, obviously of quarantine. Just one last thing as well before we, while people are getting the questions in, before we discuss them. There's been a little bit of news surrounding Theo Walcott's future. It was rumoured yesterday that Carlo Ancelotti apparently hasn't been overly impressed with Theo Walcott's performances recently, and that he is looking to place him up available for transfer this summer. Again, I wouldn't read too much into that. We've heard it a lot before. We've heard it a lot before about players, not impressing managers and therefore being up for sale, and then managers coming out and saying that's not the case whatsoever. It's massively different. So I wouldn't think too much into it. But it's, Obviously, it's a talking point, and it's interesting that it's coming out now, whilst obviously there's a break in football, and whilst you know, we've got the whole situation going on. It's interesting that things like that are coming out in the news. 1873 he says, take it easy, mate. Pizza just arrived from Danny's. There you go, Belton. Enjoy your pizza. Enjoy your pizza. I'm probably going to go and do a little bit of exercise. And yeah, probably see what's going on for my tea. Maybe play a little bit of Red Dead Redemption. Do a little bit of Skype, who knows. But anyway, before we go, I do just want to mention, I'm sure you've seen it on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, if you follow me on Twitter, if you follow the Toffee Blues on Twitter, I'm sure you'll have seen it. Little announcement, sort of. I will be hosting a Everton Quiz on the Toffee Blues YouTube channel tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. It'll be a live stream, it'll be a quiz. I think I was going to go is I'm going to get a list of Everton questions. I'm going to talk through the questions, I'm going to give the questions one by one, and then in the live comments, you're going to put your answers. We'll go through all of the questions, keep tally of your answers on a sheet or an iPad or a phone or whatever, and at the end of all the questions, we'll go through all of the answers. And we'll trust everybody to be as honest as possible in saying how many they got right and how many they got wrong. So it should be really, really good. Should be really, really fun. Don't forget to join us over on the Toffee Blues YouTube channel at 6:30 p.m. tomorrow night, Tuesday night, for a big, massive Everton quiz. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be really, really interesting. So join us if you're not doing anything tomorrow night. Why not? James says, I like Walcott. You have to think of the shite service he gets from Sigurdsson and Snyder. It's a really, really good point. It is a really, really good point, and he does. You know, he hasn't been great. He hasn't been great. The service hasn't been great to him recently, which is definitely something to take into consideration. I dare say a couple of those players you mentioned will probably be, on the transfer list as well. Hernandez says, do you play Red Dead online or story mode? Story mode, mate. I'm not good enough, and I don't play it enough to play online. I tried playing GTA online when that first come out, and you'd spawn in, and within 30 seconds you just get blown to bits by someone in a helicopter or a tank, and there's only so many of that you can do before you think I'm proper bored here and I'm just getting off. So I just played the story mode. I haven't completed it yet, and I haven't done all the stranger missions and all of that, so I've just been playing that. Steve the Steak says, hi Cam, mate, love your stuff you put out. Thank you very much, really, really appreciate that. Out when I first watched your stuff first time, I had to look at a few times. You talk so fast, but you're great. Thank you very much, mate. Really, really do appreciate that. Sorry that I talk a little bit fast. It's just, I've always done it, to be honest with you. I'll try and slow it down. But yeah, thank you very much for your compliments. And Eugene says, my best Everton moments were Everton beat Watford in the 1984 FA Cup final, and when Everton won against Man United in the FA Cup final. There you go. There you go, boss Everton moments. Let me know your best Everton moments as well in the comment section down below. And Anders says, can't wait until Sandro comes back. Sarcasm, open the Deadwood story start coming up. Well, yeah, let's hope, players like Sandro Ramirez and Yannick Balassi, etc. are finally, we can sell them off permanently this summer. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's live stream. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. Go and follow us over on Twitter and Instagram. Only takes a second. Links are down in the description below as well. Like I said, we'll be live tomorrow on the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. On the Toffee Blues YouTube channel at 6:30 p.m. Doing a big Everton quiz, so don't forget to go and get involved with that. Join us there live at 6:30 tomorrow, and then we'll be back on this channel 5:15 on Wednesday. So if you're wanting to watch this channel, it'll be 5:15 on Wednesday for another live stream, but you can see me over on the Toffee Blues channel tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. God says your first video you have on your channel is so cringeworthy. They always are, aren't they, mate? They always are. Obviously, I was new to it. I was getting a review out, but I'd like to think I've improved since then and got a lot better at it. But I don't know. I suppose that's for you people to judge and not me. And Eugene says, see you about the Toffees. Thank you very much, Eugene. Really, really appreciate that. That's going to do it today. Please do leave a like if you have enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. I'll be back tomorrow on the Toffee Blues at 6:30 p.m. and here on Wednesday on the Mighty Blues at 5:15 p.m. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you've enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.